Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Shrimp of the House Vacation, the In the Woods story, part 4, page 2. Got the first picture here. Let's go in and as layers. Scale that one 34. So I'm thinking this is the final stretch. But at the same time, coming into my head, I'm sitting here wondering if this could go to another part, and I don't want it to. Uh, Layered image size, it's kind of the way part 3 went. I could almost see this part getting taken up with more animal action and then kind of reaching the end. Yeah, okay. End of the part and realizing I don't have enough. Um, okay, no, I forgot to cut that. Yes, I forgot to cut that. Okay. Merge down. File. Let's grab a text bubble, a box, bubble. This my fear is kind of reaching close to the end of this part after playing around with all the animals and realizing I don't have enough page space for the post animal stuff. Oops, I'm not on caps. What the heck? I'm a little more worried that thing has rabies or something. You know what? I'll just cut it short. Okay, that's good. Which, if that's the case, it means you could put a full fifth part for the last segment, and honestly, I don't want to do that. I know normally it wouldn't be that bad if I went one more part than I wanted to, but thinking in this case, if it goes to 5 parts, then Man Alone seems a little short, small. Let's go file, save. Now, I'm a little loath to bring up rabies here, or to imply, to even suggest that it might be a possibility. Not that I don't want to nod to it, but it's sort of one of those things that kind of puts their vacation to an end. even just having him go to the doc, because he'd have to go to the doctor to get the rabies shot or whatever. And I kind of really want to end this on another night in the cabin. Let's go to confused. And the camera is inside the stick. Okay. Grab part of the hand. But what I'm thinking too, kind of, so that's one of the things I'm gonna have to kind of figure out how to get around it because I don't really want to cut the vacation short. Bringing it down a little bit, and hopefully this stick is outside the camera and not inside, or it's gonna look weird. Um, but as far as going to a fifth part, what do I want this thing? Working on part three, I was already feeling like I wasn't doing anything sort of original with the fight scenes with the animals. It seemed like it was always the same. It felt like there wasn't much variety I could get with the fight scenes. So it's in my head. Kind of it feels kind of pointless to have the animals that we've already seen come back for more of what we've already seen. Hmm, just a scratch, right? I'm gonna have to look this up. I think it's two B's. I'll look it up at some other point. Transmit rabies. I'll just change this now in case. Actually, hold on. In sort of one theme I've got going on here that probably a lot of readers aren't going to pick up on, or well, no, a lot of readers will probably pick up on it, but they kind of won't realize that it's somewhat intentional. That these characters are Control C. Let's try that again. Okay, why? Ah, oh, that's why I've got the wrong layer. Okay, that these characters are basically relaying the wrong information, false information, incorrect information. Oops. I was supposed to look to see if that log was. Oh, this is why I've got the layers. I'm not even paying attention. Control C. Okay. You. Okay, the stick looks like it's going to be fine. It's kind of so it's like, it's not that I'm doing it to kind of cheat anything or to sort of rewrite their reality to fit the story I want to tell. It's kind of like partially like people have the wrong opinions all the time, so I kind of do that for a little bit of realism. That like they don't know something. They're just assuming maybe they read it somewhere. They thought they read it somewhere, or shrink, select, invert, edit, cut, select none. And I think the other thing too is if they believe something about, let's say, the squirrel, like if they don't believe the squirrels eat meat, then it's kind of like even more of a shock to them when the squirrels start chasing them. The question is, I've got them moving. Let's rotate them just a little. And I've got to remember to push them down to the ground. Because this ground is not flat, there's no ground level. When I hit Control D to bring them down to the zero level in universe, the ground isn't exactly at zero level, so I can't use Control D here. Whereas, like in any of the other sets, the indoor sets, um, I can set. I create the houses and the rooms so that the floor is at that zero level. No, we want this one to go back so that I can always just use Control D to quickly drop them on the floor. Okay, let's see. You know what? Let's not the eyebrow up. Side to side. Zoom in a little. So my current train of thought is that we've probably seen the end of the raccoon and the skunk, which should make this part go a lot quicker because those two creatures were slowing this down. We're slowing down the work. So it's Daz Studios has options for. Um, well, I'm using an old build, so I've got three options: OpenGL, Iray, and 3 to Light. Um, and I know the current build out there has a fourth one. Don't quote me on it, but I think it uses cycles. So because the fur product on the raccoon and the skunk were created for sort of use a plugin that works with 3 to Light. They were, it was a pain in the butt trying to figure out how to get them to look decent in OpenGL. So I think, I might have, I think one of the two videos I did in the last part might have showed it, but it's pretty much I would switch render engines. Um, every shot with one of those two animals had to be done in layers. Whereas with the squirrels, if I wasn't going to blur anything, if I wasn't going to try and simulate motion or anything like that, I could render, I could render a shot in a single layer with the squirrels, but with skunk and the raccoon, every shot had to be rendered in layers. So if I had them behind something, then that was easily 3 layers, sometimes 4, just to render the everything behind them, then everything in front of them. Sometimes I needed like a composite of the stuff in front and in back. Um, with things like the trees and the mushrooms, where the base of those props went through the ground, there had to be like that extra shot so that I could cut off the base. Okay, there's my picture. So it's just kind of layering almost every shot on the page really slowed down part 3. So if I get rid of so if I don't have those two animals come back, because my thought was that we'd see the raccoon at least for a couple more that he'd come back and make one more appearance, and then that would be it. But I think if I get rid of them, this should go a lot quicker. Then it just comes to procrastination. I'm kind of at that point in the project where I'm starting to procrastinate. Plus, I've been feeling kind of off for about a week, And that's putting it mildly. No, what am I doing? See, I'm kind of off now. No, there. Not quite what I'm looking for, but I don't think I'm gonna be. I don't think I can get the look that's in my head right now. Let me go to page one for a minute. So I'm going to use this to change the subject. It is this way. So I'm trying to see if he said he saw the cabin or not. The implication I'm going for and I don't think I've really given the indication is that when he climbed up on the rock just to get his bearings, the implication is that he saw the cabin off in the distance. Let me go back to that for a second. Cabin is this way. If we go straight, we should trail where it loops before opening to the fields. No, you know what? Let's give the line to. It seems weird that she would change the subject again. The implication is when he climbed on the rocks to get his bearings, he saw the cabin way, way off in the distance. It's close enough for him to see, so in other words, to indicate that they're almost there. Oops. And what I'm going in this part, let's see. Saw the cabin. And I'm typing with one hand here instead of two. See, so the cabin. Actually, let's have a go. Are we almost there? Oops. Oh, I guess I hit the wrong. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So what I'm going with this part, or what I'm going with next, and if you haven't read this part yet and you don't want it spoiled, here's your chance to turn it off, go read the part, and then come back. Paste as new layer. But with this part, what I want to do now is, and this is still sort of unfolding in my head as to specifics on it, but the idea is I do have a bird figure, and at the risk of copying the Shrinking Man book, I do want to have one more animal incident. Actually, let's just leave that there for now. Where they get swarmed with birds. Like I said, I'm still brainstorming this, so this might change by the time it actually gets made, but I'm almost thinking of doing it outside the cabin. They get to sort of the clearing outside the cabin. They think they're home free, and then a bird lands nearby, and then another one, etc., etc. Layer scale. And part of me is thinking that the squirrels might show up one more time, and they might be the ones, they might sort of, in a way, be the ones that save them from the birds. But it's not like the birds would really be scared of the squirrels in real life, unless the squirrels surprised them. Inver So another possibility is the squirrels show up and it's just total mayhem. And since it's outside the cabin, another train of thought is that where Jackson has been telling him the ladybug eats bugs, Aiden like can't let it go and really wants to try to feed him leaves. Um, and sort of like goes outside to collect some, but sees the animals being weird and goes to check it out. Or it could be, the only problem is I'd sort of like to do a segment after the birds where they're trying to make once they're free of the animals, then it's like, okay, now how do we get inside the cabin, find the size changer? I sort of want to make a whole production out of that. Edit paste as. And that's kind of why I'm wondering if this will go to a fifth part, because I kind of like to do enough of that that I'm not sure I can, where I'm almost afraid I'll have to condense too much. What did she say? You say you saw the cabin? Are we almost there? Oh, okay, that works. Actually, can I bring that? Yep, there we go. One possibility is Aiden goes outside, scares all the animals away, but doesn't see the family. Goes back in, leaving them how to figure out how to get inside. And in my head, also, I'm not sure if it's going to be possible to get them inside without the other two seeing them. Because where they're trying to be careful with the ladybug, they're not just going to leave the door open or ajar. And these three are not small enough that they can just wait at the door for somebody to come inside without being noticed. Not quite, but it's close enough to see if you get on a rock. I might that could be a line that gets changed later. Um, um, I just have. Oh, I can't check on this. Let's see. I have a weird feeling about this. Nope. Okay. Let's move forward. Yeah. I'm going quiet here. Just sort of focusing on this last panel for a moment. Um, I gotta think of like what witty retort she's going to have. No other problems, of course. Edit, paste as. I think like too at this point, if you've noticed, like Aiden and Jackson have kind of disappeared. I think they had all of 2 pages in part three. Huh. Smooth sailing from here. Um, let's split that. There we go. That works. Let's split this manually. Okay. Because I guess it's like with the fights with the animals, there's only so much I can do with them in the ladybug. How many times can the ladybug get away from them? How many times can they sit there cooing over it? Paste as new layer. So they sort of basically just become transition material at this point, and then they'll pop up again later. See if it's centered right? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Hmm. This one feels like it's taken a little. There we go. A little longer than the rest of the images on this page. I think layer scale. Yeah, I'm not sure I really have anything to add at this point because at the end of the page, and I have that tendency to start on a train of thought just when I'm wrapping up. So if I think of something, I'll save it for next time. None. Select invert, train, invert, edit, cut. But I will say, it's really interesting hearing from you guys on, I've got the Discord server now, so, that's been interesting. Let's see, image, flat, and, it's It's been interesting to see kind of what aspects of these stories all of you are sort of drawn to, find interesting, um, et cetera, et cetera. Let me drop these in. Um, so I think there should still be an active link on the post I put up on Patreon. By all means, feel free to drop in if you haven't already, or feel free to keep coming back. I enjoy it, I really do. But let's finish this up. I'm a little more worried that thing has rabies. It's just a scratch, right? Don't they have to bite you to transmit rabies? It's a stare. Like, did you say you saw the cabin? Are we almost there? Not quite, but it's close enough to see if you get up on a rock. We should make it by night if there are no other problems. Oh yeah, it should be smooth sailing from here. So that's page 2. We're getting there, and I will see you next time.